Algebra 2 mixed review number 15. We have to solve for x. We have a rational expression equation here, and when we have that, we need to find the least common denominator. Looking at our denominators, we have 4x, 3x, and a 12x. The least common denominator that we could use is a 12x. That's going to be multiplied by each term. $12x times 5 is going to be a 60x over 4x. Bring down the minus sign. 12x times 6 is 72x over 3x in the denominator equals 12x times 1 is 12x over 12 in the denominator. 60x divided by 4. 60 over 4 is 15. X is cancel. 24 it's going to be minus 24 since x cancels, and 72 over 3 is 24, and this is equal to what? X. 12 over 12 cancels. X comes down. When you subtract these, you get negative 9, and that's equal to x. That's your solution. Number 16, you have a system of equations that you have to solve. X squared plus y squared equals 100. If you remember from geometry, that's the equation of a circle. And they also give you a linear equation, y equals x minus 2. Since we know what y equals, we can trade out y for x minus 2. X squared plus, instead of putting y, I'm going to put x minus 2 in parentheses and square that, and set it equal to 100. I'm going to expand out the x minus 2 squared as x minus 2 times x minus 2. And FOIL that out. X times x is x squared. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Inside is also going to be a negative 2x. And a plus 4 at the end. The x squared is still in front and equals 100 at the end. X squared plus x squared is going to be a 2x squared. Combine like terms there. And then you have negative 2x minus 2x, which would also be combined like terms to be a negative 4x. Plus 4 equals 100. And we want to make this into a quadratic equation. In order to do that, we're going to subtract 100 from both sides of the equation, making it 2x squared minus 4x. And then you're going to have a negative 96, and that's equal to a 0. And now that it's equal to 0, a quadratic equation has to be set equal to 0 before solving. The first thing that I would do is divide all of these terms by 2. And this side of the equation also. So then you're going to have x squared minus 2x. And then you're going to have 96 over 2, which is a 48. So this is going to be minus 48 equals 0. And that's done because now we can factor using trinomial factoring. You should always try to handle it first with GCF factoring. They will have a greatest common factor of 2. That's why I divided that out first. And now we need to think about two numbers that multiply to be a negative 48 and add to be a 2. So we can make a list over here of numbers that multiply to be 48. 1 times 48, 2 times 24, 3 times 16, 4 times 12, 6 times 8. And since 6 and 8 are separated by 2 numbers, that's going to be the pair that I'm going to use. And if I want them to add, I want also to add to be a negative 2, I'm going to make the 8 the negative and the 6 the positive, and set this equal to 0. So we know that one of the factors is x plus 6. If x plus 6 is a factor, remember how x equals negative 6 has to be one of the roots. X minus 8 is the other factor, so x equals 8 is the other root. And we want to also find the y values that correspond with those. So we have x equals negative 6 and x equals 8. We know that y is equal to x minus 2. So I'm going to find the output values. Y is equal to negative 6 minus 2 over here, so that y value is a negative 8, making the ordered pair over there negative 6 comma negative 8. And over here we're going to take the x value of 8, which is one of our solutions, take off 2, so y equals 6. The ordered pair there would be 8 comma 6. And then we should always check our answer, and the instructions actually say that. We're going to check by substituting those solutions into x squared plus y squared equals 100. My x value here, I'm going to take -6, square it. I'm going to add it to -8 squared, and I hope that equals 100. This is going to be 36 plus 64, which does equal 100. So this is definitely a solution. And we're going to check over here. X squared plus y squared has to equal 100. We already know that the second linear equation is satisfied, since that's how we found the y values. So we're really just concerned about checking that first equation here. We're going to take 8, square it, add it to 6 squared, and that equals 100. 64 plus 36 does equal 100. So both of these answers are appropriate solutions. And the last one that you had for this grouping was number 20. And 20 said, 20 was a right triangle again, with these measurements. So the hypotenuse is what we're trying to find. We know this bottom base is 12, and we know the angle of elevation. We don't know the opposite side of the angle. Everything's going to be based and referenced off the reference angle, which is 20 degrees. We don't know anything about the opposite side. We do know the hypotenuse, and we know the adjacent SOHCAHTOA. We're using adjacent and hypotenuse, so we're going to find the cosine. We know that the cosine of 20 degrees has to be equal to the adjacent side over the hypotenuse. The adjacent side is 12. And the hypotenuse is an unknown, 12 over x. Cosine of 20 degrees over 1 has to be equal to 12 over x. Cross multiply to solve this proportion. Cosine of 20 degrees times x equals 12. To get x alone, we have to divide both sides by the cosine of 20 degrees. X is equal to, use your calculator to do that arithmetic, 12 over the cosine of, my calculator is in degree mode, but that's something you want to verify first. 12.77, so this is going to round to be 12.8. So we are using cosine of 20 equals 12 over x, which is choice C.